Franklin. We're talking about her book, The Odyssey of Judicial Corruption. So what happens next? Where do you go?
And when I turned and walked out of the courtroom, I prayed to God. The only thing I could think of was, God, please don't let me regurgitate in the courtroom. I was so sick to my stomach. I said, let me get to my car in the garage. Please don't let me be embarrassed by regurgitating in the courtroom or in the courthouse or on the street. And I was able to get to my car after that hearing. This is in my book. This happened. This is real. This is real. And you might say, well, couldn't you have appealed to some other judge? No, there is an unwritten practice among the judges. You don't report on another judge, no matter what the infraction, no matter what the misconduct. No judge reports on another judge. So then how can you get justice? How can you get justice? And my own feeling, the book took me a period of over 10 years to actually finish it, because for me it was like revisiting the nightmare. Every time I would sit down and start working on the manuscript, I would just have to, all these thoughts would come to mind of what I had been through. I lost my husband, I lost my law office. I mean, it was just a very hard time. But deep in my spirit, I felt that this was an assignment. And the silence is so, it's just so, I could not live with myself. I can live with myself now because it's out. And I told the truth. And I have no worries about anybody coming after me and saying, oh, you said this about this or that. And to make the point, Kate, that I wasn't even trying to smear anybody or point fingers. I used all pseudonyms for all of the characters. So there's no one that can say, oh, she said this about me. Because the first thing people would say, oh, is that you in the book? Is that who she's talking? Is that who she's talking about? I use all pseudonyms, even for family members. I took this all on my own. The only real name in there is, other than in my acknowledgments, of course, and in my dedication, family members, I use their real names. But I took it all because my whole attitude is I'm telling a story. And America needs to hear the story because America knows all about this, truly. And I am hoping that I'm going to encourage others to come forth because, as I said, this is not something that is special to me. It's just I told my publisher some time back, I said, the only difference between me and and others is that I'm telling my story. The stories are out there. It's like a cottage industry. And as far as DC court system is concerned, it's like a corruption superhighway. It's just that bad. I heard, and that's not an original with me. I can't take it as a real. I heard Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, on the other night, and she was talking about the Supreme Court. And she said it's a corruption superhighway. And I said, oh my goodness, I have to use that when I'm interviewed by Kate, because that's exactly what it is. It's just a corruption. It's just there. People are taken advantage of, and it's just an abuse of power. It's just an abuse of power. And here I am trying to do the right thing. I'm representing a young woman who has no resources, no family or anything. My husband and I kept her off the streets.
Mhm.
She had no funds. She had no monies. She had no backup. And we expended. And Kate, from the bottom of my heart, I was never paid, not even $1. I told her
Wow.
never. The whole time. And my husband and I made sure she had a place to stay. I remember one Christmas, she was on the street, and I mentioned it to my husband, and I said, well, she's sleeping on the street. She doesn't have anywhere to go. And I wasn't trying to ask him for anything because he knew that I had been helping her so long. And then all of a sudden my husband said, let's go and send your client some money so she'll have a good Christmas. And my husband and I went out and, to one of the, you know, uh, I don't know, grocery stores or whatever. And we sent her like a money order, we sent her like $1,500 or whatever, just so she could get off the street during the Christmas holidays and I mean, so we all suffered. My client suffered, and we all suffered. And as I said, I can live with myself now because I just felt in the deepest part of my heart and spirit that it, I could not keep this all inside and not tell the world. And I had the wonderful experience of, having the book showcased in Frankfurt, at the Frankfurt Book Fair last October. And I met so many wonderful people, and they were saying, this goes on in our country too. Thank you for
Wow.
writing the book.
Wow.
Because we're dealing with human beings.
Right.
And human beings are human beings. It doesn't matter the institution, whether it's the court system, whatever governmental entity there is, you're dealing with human beings. But I think particularly as professionals, I had a responsibility. I could not afford to keep quiet and to be silent, knowing that God had blessed me with writing skills. I had the time, He'd given me my health. I had all these blessings. And I tried to write the book in such a way that it's not out of anger, because I don't have bitterness or angst. I have none. I have Because we all have to live with ourselves, and these
Right.
people are responsible. They have to live with themselves. So it's not that I'm angry at anybody or I'm trying to bring anybody down. I always say I'm telling a story. And to make sure no one feels that I'm pointing at them, I used all pseudonyms. I didn't use any other than, as I said, in the acknowledgments and in the dedication to the book. So I really see, I just really believe that I am going to sooner or later hear from some folks in Washington, actually, and from attorneys, because it goes on all the time.
Wow.
This is not an unusual, as I said to my publisher, what's unusual is that I have told the story. That's the only unusual thing about it. I don't see myself as special in terms of, oh, this happened to me and nobody else. Oh, no, no, no. This happens all the time because it's an issue of power. And I forgot the author, but anyway, I forgot I think it was a gentleman who said power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So these are people that are charged and empowered with lots of power. And in my case, it was just abused. It was just abused because I don't think those who were responsible ever thought that I would summon the courage and stamina. And it just takes, writing a book takes a lot out of you
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
But when you're writing a story like this, it's doubly difficult. But I just, I just made a promise to myself, and I stayed the course, and I had the resolve. But as I said, it took a period of over 10, I wrote it over a 10-year period, because I would have to, I was living my life. And so things would happen. I lost my mom at one point, and so on and so on, and other things would happen, and I just have to put it down. But I knew that I would have to finish it. And so I'm, I'm very pleased, and it's a very comforting feeling to know that I have given this as my gift to the world. I have given this story. That's how I see it, really, as my gift to the world, always hoping that someone else will be empowered, because I try to educate. And, I'm a former teacher anyway. So I really try to educate in the book. This is what happened. This is how it happened. And this is how they stripped me. They stripped me, I said, of an estimated $50 million, because
Wow.
it started out as a $34 million settlement, but because of the years that had gone by, at some point, and the client testified to it in court, it was like $100 million at one point. It was just $100 million. And the other thing, a friend of mine reminded me of this. She said, when you do your interview with Kate Delaney, before my case was dismissed by the court, this was in January of 2015, 2 months in November, I got a call. My client called me because someone wanted to deposit $1 million into my attorney escrow account. And I said, I was coming from a friend's funeral, and I still remember it. And I said, well, who is this? Who wants to do this? Because they knew the case was going to be dismissed. So they're offering me $1 million. I said, who? Oh, I can't divulge. I said, no, I'm an attorney. I can't have deposits made into my attorney escrow account, and I don't know where it's coming from. I mean,
Right.
I said, I could be laundering money.
Right.
So, but that told me they knew that this is woefully unfair to do this attorney this way. And so they were going to see if I would
Take
be.
it. Yeah.
But
Wow. What a
so
story.
anyway, yeah. I would say though, Kate, anyone purchasing the book, And I know now I'm sounding vain, but they won't be disappointed. It's a good read, and I've gotten good responses from people that I know have read the book. So
Absolutely. You want to pick this up, and maybe it will, and hopefully it will empower you. And the name of the book again, The Odyssey of Judicial Corruption. Barbara Washington Franklin, what a great joy to be able to speak with you. Thank you
thank
for
you.
sharing your story and the bravery of doing that and putting it all together after a decade. Thanks.
Thank you, Kate.